Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. Peter Greenberg here with you with another global travel update this week, coming to you from Dulles Airport. See the runways behind me in Washington, D.C. Of course, you can always ask your questions. We've got them here to do. Lots of stories to talk about today, lots of problems to try to solve, and some news that's got to be solved with you as well, at least shared. We'll start with what's going on in the fallout and the continuing fallout with Delta Airlines and their frequent flyer changes, their lounge changes. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. For those of you who have not heard that story, Delta basically has turned their loyalty program into a privilege program. It's no longer based on how many flights you take or how many miles you fly. It's only based on how much money you spend. Now, American had gone that way a couple of months ago. They angered their frequent flyers, and now Delta has done it as well. But they decided to do it in a bigger way. So people got angrier. Their CEO, I don't think, was prepared for the blowback. Neither was American Express, because American Express is co-branded with Delta on their credit cards. And that also involves lounge access that a lot of people weren't able to get. We all remember the Groucho Marx line, I would never join a club that would have me as a member. How about a club that I am a member of that I can't get into because there's just too many of us? That's what's happened with the Sky Clubs at Delta, and things are just getting worse. Their CEO did go on the air about a day or two later to say, and I quote, "Maybe we went a little too far." But here's what he didn't say. He didn't say it was a bad idea, and he didn't say I was sorry. What he was saying is, and let's translate this the right way, what he was saying is, we never should have done it all at the same time, right? Reminds me of the frog in the boiling water. Right? What Delta did was they threw the frog in the boiling water, and of course the frog jumped out. That was us. What Delta wants to do now is throw us in the water that's not boiling and then gently, gradually heat the water until we die in the water. That's the whole analogy that I'm using, and I don't think it's too far from the truth. Well, the blowback also includes other airlines looking at Delta's move as an opportunity to steal passengers. So at this moment, I know of two airlines, Alaska Air and JetBlue, that are aggressively courting Delta frequent flyers, saying, hey, whatever status you have at Delta, just let us know, we'll match it, and we'll make it more meaningful. A lot of people are doing that. You know what? I'm doing it. Why wouldn't you, right? So much for loyalty. Remember, the word loyalty now has essentially been changed in terms of its definition as to meaning in the absence of any other option. That's pretty sad. So, of course, all eyes are now on United to see if they'll follow American and Delta's lead. And there's every indication that, if history is any indication, they'll do just that. So, the airlines are doing a lot of redefinitions these days. I don't want to sound too cynical, but some airlines actually define us as self-loading human cargo. And we are reaching a tipping point, certainly an inflection point, where the federal government, I think they're going to get wise to this. They're going to get their attention, because how many judges are members of the frequent flyer program? How many legislators are members of the frequent flyer programs? How many policymakers are members of the frequent flyer programs? And I would guess that there may be a few class action lawsuits filed in front of very receptive judges who are already angry. I mean, obviously, in a conflict of interest situation, you want these judges to recuse themselves. But let me share something with you. There are 354 million frequent flyer accounts at the airlines in this country. That's more than the population of this country. So everybody has a conflict of interest, especially if you're in the legal profession, since you're probably a member of more than one. So stand by, watch this space. We'll have more information on that as we continue. However, these status matches that I'm talking about, that doesn't mean they're going to last forever. So if you're going to do it, jump on it soon. And then it'll be a test to these airlines to see if they really can deliver value based on your new upgraded status on an airline you probably haven't flown before or flown in frequency before. So we'll talk about that this week, next week, and a few weeks later. I mentioned I'm coming from Dulles Airport here in Washington. Might come as a surprise to you. It's the fastest growing international airport in America. Lots of new airlines coming in with great new routes and great affordable routes. It wasn't that long ago that a coach airfare from the United States to, let's say, London was as much as $2,200. Ouch. Now we have airlines. Now we're seeing the airfare start to drop. Last week, it had dropped something like 26% over 3 or 4 weeks ago. Now it's down to 29% lower than it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and continuing to drop as Americans come to grips with their credit card bills and realize that a substantial amount of their consumer credit card debt was what they spent on travel. So we'll start to see that come down. It's not seasonal as much as it used to be. It's not because the kids are back in school or that. No, it's because people were not price sensitive. They were spending as much money as they possibly could. That was part of their revenge travel, and now they're getting the bills. So if you have some money in the bank and you want to travel, now it's a buyer's market, or it's more of a buyer's market, and we'll see those airfares continue to drop. To give you an example, out of Dulles to London right now, round trip, including all taxes and fees, under $500. Not bad. Now's the time to go. By the way, you're not going to London to get a suntan. Go now when nobody else is going, right? Or do what I do, go over Thanksgiving. They don't know from turkeys in Europe. Go there. While all your friends are at their obligatory dysfunctional family get-together known as Thanksgiving, you get to go somewhere else and not get hosed in your wallet. Just a thought. Okay, so much for that. Now, let's talk about some other things. Cruise lines. We're now starting to see fares come down as more and more new cruise ships enter the market. That's a good thing. And we're seeing fares on some repositioning cruises as low as $46 a day. Now, if you have the extra time, remember, we're in an era now where people get to work from anywhere. You can turn your cruise ship cabin into your office, as long as you get a good Wi-Fi package deal from the cruise line. And at $46 a day, which includes your meals, by the way, come on. You can't wake up in Sheboygan, Wisconsin for $46 a day. So take a look at the cruise lines, call your travel agent, ask them on the cruise lines that they do business with, which are their repositioning cruises, where they literally have to move the ships from one continent to another because of seasons, going from Europe to Fort Lauderdale, or Fort Lauderdale to Mexico, or getting ships out of Alaska now into the Caribbean. Or the best one of all is, I think there's a 26-day cruise from San Francisco to Tahiti and to Sydney. How cool is that? Again, under $50 a day. I mean, you might as well go. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? So there you have, remember, go get that Wi-Fi deal from the cruise line or your costs will spiral. A lot of cruise lines are offering free Wi-Fi, and in that situation, you're in. All right, let's scroll down and say hello to some folks here today. Greetings from Harriet and Jim in Richmond, Virginia. Okay. Greetings from Denver to Evelyn. Lorena says hi from Lansing, Michigan. Okay, and you're anxious to travel. Debbie says hello from Buffalo. Go Bills. Yeah, go Bills. Jets, forget about it. Giants, the worst. Denver, I don't have to tell you any more than that. I'm actually going this week to Madison, Wisconsin. When we finish talking today, I'm going to go see my Badgers play. The University of Wisconsin, where I went to school. And let's give it some historical significance. In all the years I was at Wisconsin, they never went to the Rose Bowl. And the one year they did go to the Rose Bowl, where was I? In Vietnam, trying to get a sports score. Well, the last 3 games I've attended at the University of Wisconsin, they've lost all 3. This Saturday, they're playing Rutgers. Rutgers won their game last week, I think, by 52 points. Ridiculous. So I'm just going for the entertainment value. Let's hope that Wisconsin has improved their offensive play calling so that it's not just limited to let's run it up the middle. We need to be a little more creative. So that's where I'll be this Saturday. But right now I'm with you here from Dulles answering your questions. Camilla says, cheers from Observation Point in Zion National Park. Very cool. Then Red Rock, then Las Vegas. Oh, you're doing all the national parks. Sequoia Kings National Park. Oh, and Pismo Beach by the weekend. Nice itinerary. Okay. Hello from Tanzania to John. Howdy from Oklahoma, George. And Robin saying hi from Williamsburg, Virginia. Patty saying hello from Kentucky. Okay, remember our spot that we just did, which Anthony can also run for you again, is our secret gems of Lexington, Kentucky. It goes way beyond horse racing and bourbon, as you will see. And Patty says, oh, I love this. Looking forward to visiting Paris again next month. Bed bug scare or not? All right, let's talk about the bed bugs. Every year, it's, by the way, inevitable, I'll get press releases from some organization like called the Bed Bug Research Institute or something official sounding like that, talking about bed bug outbreaks in different cities and what people need to know. Well, just a little bit of research reveals that these organizations are owned by what? Exterminator companies. Gee, what a surprise. Look, let's assume this, let's give everybody the sake of the doubt, the benefit of the doubt that there's a lot of bed bugs in France right now. Okay, that's the stories that are coming out. Should that stop you from going to France? Absolutely not. Look, here's what you do. When you check into a hotel, keep in mind that bed bugs are hitchhikers. They love hanging out in suitcases. What do a lot of you do when you get to a hotel? You put your luggage on the bed. Don't do it. Keep it on the floor. Then what you need to do is go to the bed. Remember, the word is bed bugs, right? Go to the bed, pull back the bedspread or the duvet, and then lift up the mattress from the box spring. And if you see little red streaks there or little blood stains, that means you need to get another room. That means that's where the bed bugs are hiding. Go get another room. Other than that, and saying, mon Dieu, go to Paris. You'll have a great time. All right, my friend Peter from Kigali. Okay, I'll be in Kigali later this month for the World Travel and Tourism Council Global Summit in Rwanda. So I'll see Peter there. Here's a question from Jim. Do I think the countries around the world, including the U.S., will ever come up with a visa program similar to that of global entry? Yes. The APEC countries are playing with that right now in Asia. That will be the first ones to do it, and I think they will. What we are seeing right now is in Singapore, by next year, the airport will go totally passport free. Think about that. All biometrics. You won't need a passport for ID in Finland. They're going all biometrics. So the technology is there. We've proven it with global entry. Probably the best government program invented in recent years. It really works. And they've actually improved it now, where you don't even have to put your passport inside a reader or do fingerprints. It's all biometrics. It works like a charm. Hats off to Customs and Border Protection for making that work. And it really does work. And now, what we really now have to get into, forgetting that, is something called pre-clearance. No, not pre-check. You know what that is with a TSA. No, pre-clearance. That's, again, Customs and Border Protection. It's been around since 1952, started in Canada, still there. It's in Canada, Bermuda, the Bahamas. It's in Abu Dhabi. It's in Ireland. And what it means is that when you're ready to come home, you're clearing U.S. Customs in those countries, right? No more lines when you get home, not even global entry when you get home. It's like landing on a domestic flight. Who wants to fly 11 hours to stand in a 2-hour line? And about connecting passengers and connecting bags, you don't have to necessarily go outside of security or have to reclaim your bags and put them back on. They're already pre-checked to your next destination. That's what pre-clearance is all about. And when they put it in Abu Dhabi, I know a lot of people who won't fly from Dubai anymore. They'll drive 40 minutes to the Abu Dhabi airport because they clear U.S. Customs there. So when they get back to New York or D.C. or Chicago or L.A., they either go home or they change planes effortlessly. That's what we need to do. Any country can do it as long as they put up the money to take care of the housing and other costs associated with putting U.S. Customs officers in those countries. But it's not how much it costs, it's how much it's worth. The needle will move, I guarantee you, if we had pre-clearance at Heathrow or Charles de Gaulle. What a difference that would make. Night and day. I'll take that back. Nights and days. And look, the technology is there. There's no excuse for why we haven't done it. Okay. Do I know which cruise line has the repositioning cruise from San Francisco to Tahiti? I'm thinking it's Princess. So check them out. Hello from the Hudson River Valley. Okay, Joseph. He's busy right now with the wildebeest migration. You're too early, but let me know more about that, Joseph. Colleen wants to know, what was I doing in Vietnam? I was reporting. I was at B-52 crash sites and talking about, how this country how Vietnam was emerging from all those terrible years in the 70s and the 60s and the war. All right, Beth is saying, greetings from another Badger alum. Okay. Gene's saying, hello from Claremore, Oklahoma. How far in advance should you book a summer cruise to Alaska? Let's get down to the definition of the word summer. The Alaska cruise season is like from about the 15th of May to the 15th of September. So it's now ended. If you really want to go to a summer cruise in Alaska, that's July and August. I would book it relatively soon. The shoulder periods of May and June and September are still, you can still wait on those. But for July and August, they tend to fill up quickly. Okay, so you might want to try that now. But remember, don't do it in a vacuum. Go through a travel agent. Go through a travel agent that specializes in cruises, because there are a lot of things they can offer you that won't show up on any internet, right? Shore excursion packages or free shore excursions or onboard credits, or lots of other things that are not going to show up online. Gina's saying, ciao from San Diego. Okay. Ciao from San Diego. Melanie's saying, oh, hi from Miami, still recovering from the Dolphins losing so badly to the Bills. You see what happened? The Dolphins got cocky with that 70-point win the week before. That's what happened. They were looking ahead. They shouldn't have done that. Okay. Robin saying, heading to Europe for a cruise, less than 2 weeks. We'll be on the ship for 8 weeks. Back to back to back. Third cruise. Love that. I'm jealous. She said, she did a transatlantic cruise to Fort Lauderdale, just retired after 43 years of government service. Congratulations and enjoy your cruises. Okay, Juice calling in from Japan. Okay. Global entry at JFK, according to Corky, took about 5 seconds to process, and we were out of the airport. No, you weren't out of the airport. You had to get your bags. You beat your bags. But at least you got through Customs and Border Protection in record time. All right. Cherie is saying hello from the Lake District, visiting from Denver, Colorado. Okay, nice to talk to you. By the way, last week we were racing for time. We didn't get to announce our photo of the week. So this week we got 2 of them. Isn't that exciting? We had 2 photos of the week. Let's go to the first one. That's the one I should have showed you last week. Lorena Jenkins Hoffmeyer sent this photo in. Speaking of Alaska cruises, from Juneau, after spending several days in the Glacier Bay area. She says, I was beyond excited to be able to capture this photo of humpback whales bubble netting near Rocky Island. That's southwest of Juneau. It's not easy to see them, but even more difficult to catch them in the act. They made my day by surfacing near our boat. She can check this off her bucket list. Hey, it's all about the photos and those memories. Congratulations, Lorena. And if you think your photograph qualifies as the photo of the week, just send it in to us, peter@petergreenberg.com. And if we agree with you, it goes up next to Lorena's. And a little bit later, I'll tell you about this week's photo of the week. A couple of other things to talk about, and that is, you remember I mentioned airfares going down? Well, it's not well publicized, but there are a number of airlines out there now that let you bid for an upgrade about up to 7 days before your departure time. Meaning you're holding a coach ticket, but you can actually go online and submit a blind bid, if you will, for what you're willing to pay for a business class or a first class ticket, or a seat, I should say. The airlines that are doing that, Lufthansa, Air New Zealand, LOT, the Polish airline, Hawaiian, Singapore, and Virgin Atlantic. So I know what you're thinking. How am I going to do a bid that allows you to actually get the bid? Can I really go low? Well, you can go lower, but here's what I would do. First of all, do your research. Figure out what the published business class or first class fare is for that flight. Then subtract from that what you paid for your flight, and then bid anywhere from 20 to 40% of what that difference is. And there's a reasonably good chance you'll be sitting in the front of the plane on those airlines. It's a way for them to raise incremental revenue, and it's a way for you to sit up front without getting gouged in the wallet. So those are the airlines that are doing it. There may be more soon. Again, the airlines, Air New Zealand, LOT, Hawaiian, Lufthansa, Singapore, and Virgin Atlantic. All right, let's scroll down a few more here. Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, Corky says we don't check bags. Okay, smarty pants. I get it. Now I know why you left the airport. Uh, okay. Ah, Jim wants to know what small U.S. airline would you consider flying more often and that have more hubs? Well, those are two very separate questions. I'm an angry passenger right now, and I'll give you the example. I had to fly recently from Nashville to Orlando, and I could have taken American with a stop in Charlotte, United with a stop in Houston, or a Delta with a stop in Atlanta. And the airfare is about $430. It should have been about $120. And because there was a stop, it turned into like a 5-hour experience on any one of those airlines with a layover. Now, if I'd flown Delta, this goes back to Delta's recent announcement, right? But if I'd flown Delta for $430, I would have earned mileage I can't redeem, and they would have given me a Biscoff cookie. How exciting. But there is an airline, which goes to answer your question, Jim. There is an airline that does fly between Nashville and Orlando, and it's an airline that most of you will swear you'll never fly. Spirit. Wait a minute. Their flight time, 1 hour and 20 minutes. Their fare, $67. Now, do the seats recline? No. Flight's an hour and 20 minutes. Was I on for the rich Corinthian leather? No. Was I on for the food? No. Was I on for the Broadway show tunes that flight attendants would be not singing on board? Of course not. I was on to go from A to B, not lose 3.5 hours of my life going through another hub. And in the process, I saved about $360. But wait, there's a value proposition here. For that $360, I could have gone out and bought 28 cases of Biscoff cookies. So somebody has to give me the argument of why I would fly Delta, other than the fact that I was chasing miles, addicted to their frequent flyer program, and operating under the delusion that I could actually redeem miles that I earned. So the answer to your question is, take a look at some of the new carriers, like Breeze, Avelo. Allegiant's not a new carrier, but look at them as well. And of course, Spirit, Frontier as well. I mean, maybe it'll be more of a hassle for you because they charge you for baggage and they charge you for sometimes for carry-on. But even if you add up all those fees, it's less than the big guys. And for me, I love clarity. I love transparency. I love full disclosure. So I'm not sitting at home with 28 cases of Biscoff cookies. Okay, I lied. I don't. But you understand the point. So figure out how valuable to you the frequent flyer program that you're a member of actually is. And my guess is when you actually start doing the math, as many Delta passengers did in the last 2 weeks in the wake of that announcement, the numbers don't add up anymore. And the dirty little secret's out that the airlines make more money from their frequent flyer programs than they do flying airplanes. What's wrong with that picture? Everything, especially if you can't redeem the miles, or they devalue the miles ridiculously, or they change the metrics and the requirements so that your minimum spend on one of their credit cards in order to get the lowest tier status at Delta is $75,000 a year. You want to be a diamond medallion? Try $350,000. Now, for $350,000, what do you get? Maybe an upgrade, miles you can't redeem, and a dedicated phone line so the airlines can tell you bad news faster than waiting online for 20 minutes to get bad news. I'm sorry if I sound cynical, but many of you who are watching right now are living the same experience, and you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to be continuing to report on this story for weeks and months to come because it's not going anywhere, and people are getting angrier. All right, let's keep going. Scrolling down here. Gina says, thanks for recommending using an agent for an Alaska cruise. So true that we get extra benefits, offer more personalized service, and we travel vicariously with you. All right, Gina, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. But Gina does have a point. You know, I was on the phone yesterday with somebody from one of the networks where I work, and they said to me, aren't travel agents dead? I said, no, just the opposite. They're bigger than ever because during the pandemic, we found out how much travel agents were worth when travel providers were refusing to give us refunds on trips or flights or cruises that they canceled. And the travel agents served as our advocates at no money, by the way, or no commission. In many cases, when they got the refunds, they lost their commission. So 3 cheers to the travel agents out there who hung in there. And for those of you who want to be smart, pick a travel agent who specializes in the destination or experience or mode of transportation that you want to travel. You will not be disappointed. All right. All right. Tanzania's weighing in. Jeanette says, my husband just flew on Breeze, the only nonstop from Orange County, and had a great experience. You know, if you take a look at the business model for Breeze, they're not flying between LA and New York. They're flying between secondary or tertiary underserved airports and other airports. Their longest flight is Providence, Rhode Island to LA. They actually do fly to LA. But more often than not, they're flying from Islip to Charlotte or places like that, and they make a lot of sense, especially if you have flexibility in your schedule. She said, Orange County to Orlando. There you go. It's getting smart. It's getting smart. Okay, let's keep going. I've got some other questions to read from you guys, so let's do that. Here's one from Adrienne. Does French Bee fly to Johannesburg? We could fly from LAX to Paris or Istanbul or Frankfurt and then to Johannesburg. They don't. Speaking of French Bee, that's our latest segment on Travel Detective. And I'm going to ask Anthony to post the link if you want to see a number of airlines out there that you may not have heard about. Most of you have not heard about French Bee. They're based in Paris at Orly, and they fly to the US. They also fly to Tahiti. Once again, at very reasonable fares. They fly A350s, brand new planes. Now, I just have to caution you, they're configured at 441 seats. You will be flying like this, but at the prices that they're charging, you know what? Grin and bear it. Same as my philosophy with Spirit. I'd much rather fly French Bee to Paris than fly one of the legacy carriers at more money and miles I can't redeem. It's basic math at this point. But anyway, they do not fly to Johannesburg. I'm sorry, Adrienne, but they do fly from Paris to Reunion Island in the Indian Ocean. There's a cool combination. They do fly to the Caribbean from Paris, and they fly from New York and I believe in Los Angeles and San Francisco, I know, to Paris, and then from the West Coast to Tahiti. Here's one from Jack. My wife is allergic to cats. Do they really allow cats on planes under the seat in front of you these days? I'm afraid they do, but here's the deal. The rule is, I'm not saying everybody's obeying the rule, but the rule is once you put that cat in its container under the seat in front of you, the cat cannot leave the container. Now, you know what happens inevitably. The passengers will take them out and go, oh, nice kitty, and there's your problem with allergies. So if you know, and you do, that your wife is allergic to cats, then before you ever leave the counter, not the gate, the counter when you get to the airport, say, are there any onboard pets flying on the plane today? And if so, where are they located? Because my wife is allergic. I'm assuming it's just to cats. If it's a cat, can you please reseat me as far away as possible? What the airlines are doing now, and you got to give them hats off for being responsible. If somebody is truly allergic to nuts, they will make an announcement on the plane and ask everybody's understanding why they're not going to be serving nuts at all during the flight. Because it's not the nuts, it's the particles of the nuts, it's the powder from the nuts that will be the dangerous, the dangerous aspect of that flight. So the airlines are not doing a better job of that. And in fact, what's happening in some markets, not all, with some airlines, not all, is if somebody is truly allergic to nuts, and the plane that you get on just arrives from somewhere else, and you let the counter know, they may go and do a complete thorough wipe down of the seat where you're sitting and the seat next to you as well before they board the flight. I think that's also a very, very good idea. Okay, Tia wants to know, what is Iceland's new visitor tax? Gee, what a surprise. Airlines are now charging them, but they're not airline taxes. but it's part of your ticket price all over the world, right? They're starting to charge a tax in Venice starting next January, in Rome starting next January. New Zealand's got one now. Australia's had one for a while. And more countries are doing it. And Iceland is no exception. It'll probably be built into the cost of your airline ticket, and it may not be properly broken out, but that's what it is. Okay. Now, Betsy's asking a question that brings me up to another subject, or actually brings me back to a favorite subject. How many miles is a typical airfare on round trip on United? I've only been able to redeem a one-way for 9K. If you could redeem, Betsy, I've got to say something. If you can redeem any ticket for just 9K on United, you've won the lottery. That's probably a ticket between Chicago and Des Moines, one way. No, tickets, the old days of getting a free coach ticket at 25,000 miles is almost unheard of. I remember when first class was 50,000 miles. Now we're talking 200,000 and more. And that's domestic. We haven't gone overseas yet. Many of you may remember I held it up on camera when it happened when I wanted to go from New York to Copenhagen. And I called the Delta Airlines and I said, how many miles for a coach ticket? And they said, not available. How many miles for Comfort Plus? And they said, not available. And then said, how many for business? Not available. They had one frequent flyer award ticket available for first class, New York, Copenhagen round trip. All right, Betsy, fasten your seatbelt. How many miles did the airline want? Here it comes, 750,000. Now let's do the math. 58% of all airline mileage is earned on the ground with your credit card purchases, right? And you'll do everything to put it on a credit card to earn miles you can't redeem. You get the concept? Now that's why those programs are so successful. Now let's go back to that 750,000 mile ticket. If I had been stupid enough to have redeemed 750,000 miles for that one round trip ticket, that would have meant I had spent 405,000 miles, $405,000 on that ticket. Now, for $405,000, I could have chartered 4 Gulfstream private jets and taken 40 of my friends to Copenhagen. So tell me where the value proposition is anymore for the miles. So if you're watching me right now and you got miles lying around, and most of you do, you know I'm right, every day you don't redeem them, they become less and less valuable by the hour. The airlines can do anything they want with them. They can change the rules. They can even close the programs. It's in their contract that you signed when you joined the program. It's in their best interest to sell revenue seats and not redeem miles. Yet you went out and got the credit card to get 1 mile per dollar spent, a credit card that may be charging you 28% interest. It's a win-win for the banks. It's a win-win for the airlines, not so much for you. But if you've already accrued those miles, look, I don't trust the airlines as airlines. Why would I trust them as banks? You're not earning interest. Get out there and redeem as many as you can, because it's only going to get worse. And you heard it here, not first, you heard it here at least 3 times, because I've talked about it 2 times before. So there you have it. Okay. Sarah wants to know, what's my favorite restaurant in Rome? Well, I actually have one. It's a little difficult to find, but in the world of Google now you can do it. It's called Il Paperno. And there's like only one thing on the menu of their signature dish. It's artichokes, done about 18 different ways. You'll be in heaven. Even if you don't like artichokes. And by the way, I was one of those who didn't. I like them now at that restaurant, Il Paperno. Okay, Francine is saying, looking for things to do in Lisbon. Any recommendations? So many. You use Lisbon as your hub, as a day trip, and you go to Estoril. Go to the Palace Hotel for afternoon tea, or go up to Cascais, to the Hotel Farrell, right on the water, unbelievable food, but check out their art collection. The owner is somewhat idiosyncratic, and it's reflected in what he's chosen to exhibit in the hotel. That's worth the visit alone. Then, in terms of restaurants in Lisbon, I have 3 favorite restaurants. One is called Aqui Peixe, meaning fish is here. Another one is on Avenida Libertad. It's called Je ne sais quoi, a little play on French. And then the third one, which I go to every time I'm in Lisbon, is a restaurant called Pop Sorda, You'll find it on the second floor of the Timeout building. Now, why do I love it? Well, do they have a great menu? They have a great menu. Do they have great seafood? They have great seafood. But you don't go there for that, even though you're going to get great food. You go there for dessert. And there's only one thing on dessert. Now, if you order chocolate mousse at most restaurants around the world, it comes in a little bitty miniature champagne glass with a little mini spoon, and within 8 seconds, you've consumed your dessert. Not at Pop Sorta. You order chocolate mousse for dessert, and while you're waiting for that little mini glass, you're tapped on the shoulder, and you look over, the waiter is standing there with a giant bowl and a large ladle, which he then or she then hands to you with your big empty plate. I'm not even going to complete the sentence. You know they're going to need a stretcher to get you out of there that night. It's that good. All right. So now the other thing I love doing in Lisbon, you take the streetcars because you have no idea where they're going and get off whenever you want. It's great in the neighborhoods. Of course, you want to go to the Alfama district to hear the fado singing. But what I love doing is I try to walk up to St. George's Castle in the late afternoon to see all the old men playing chess. And if they're nice, they might let me play with them. It's a great scene. But of course, the food is unbelievable all throughout Lisbon, and not to mention the Azores too. You're going to have the little custard tarts, the pastel de nata. You can't get enough of those. And if you get a chance to go to Porto, I encourage you to go to another restaurant called 1756, an amazing place where their signature dish is salmon tataki. You have to watch them make it. Everybody who I've sent there, all my friends, I said, not only going to order the dish, you're going to be honest with me, you're going to order a second order. And everybody has. So there's a recommendation for you. Okay. Alexander wants to know, and by the way, I want to know, why is gas $7.10 a gallon in Los Angeles? Well, depending on the station in Los Angeles, and I know one of them, it's on Olympic Boulevard, just on the other side of Beverly Hills. It's their rental. Their rental costs are so much, they have to charge more for the gas. So even when gas was $3 a gallon, they were charging $5. So then now it's $7.10. You want to see other crazy gas prices? Try driving up north on the 101 to Santa Barbara. But here's the thing I've never understood. You go to a state like Alabama today. We were just in Mississippi 2 weeks ago. Gas was $3.40 a gallon, right? $7.10 in LA. Isn't the port of Los Angeles the largest port in America? Doesn't all the oil come in there? Aren't there refineries there? There are no refineries that much in Mississippi or Alabama, but gas is cheaper there. What do they know that I don't know? I would like somebody to answer that question. Okay. Diane wants to know, is Atlantis in Dubai worth it? Well, the only question I have for you is, Diane, do you have kids? And if you do, it's a fun experience for them. It's no different than Atlantis in the Bahamas, right? Hard to believe they opened Atlantis in the Bahamas 25 years ago. I was there for that opening. So do I feel old? Yes, I do. But they have a lot of the same attractions and a lot of the same features at Atlantis in Dubai. And obviously, if you have kids, it's a fun thing to do. All right, let's keep scrolling down here. Hold on a second, guys. We're going to go down. Okay, greetings from New York. Okay, hello from Charlotte. Okay, someone who I don't know said, I used to work with you. Okay, well, nice to see you. Peter in Tanzania. Okay. Gigi saying, I'm going to London to see James for Thanksgiving. James who? Your summer intern. Oh, that summer intern. We'd love to see you there. As a matter of fact, you will see me there, but I won't be there for Thanksgiving. I'll be in London November 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th. And we'll be working over there, reporting from the world travel market, as a matter of fact. But I will see James. So if you see James before I do, or talk to him before I do, tell him I said hi. All right, now let's go. Look at this. On board the new Explorer 1. Oh, I know where you are. You're up in New England. In fact, the new Explorer 1, we just were on it in Iceland. And the new Explorer 1 will be in New York next week, I believe on the 12th, a week from today. and I'll go visit the ship there. Okay, Alexander wants to know, hello from Switzerland. Any good restaurants in Malta? Yes, but you're going to have to get a car because they're not necessarily in Valletta or in Mdina. But my suggestion to you is go to the island there are 3 islands in Malta, but the one I love going to, I think it's Como. They have the best olive oil, and you can buy it. Just make sure they wrap it and bubble wrap it. Don't come home without that, okay? All right, keep on going. Hello from Chicago to Geraldine. I'll be there next week. Robin says, I concur with Breeze. Flew from Richmond to Tampa, one of the best experiences on a flight we had. The crew was awesome. We will fly with them again, and they're expanding other airports. By the way, the guy who started Breeze is a guy named David Nealman. I just saw David recently in New York, and he reminded me that we did a live show for NBC and the Today Show 23 years ago, which was the day they launched service on the airline he founded from JFK to LAX. Actually, it was from JFK to Long Beach, called JetBlue. And then David, a couple of years ago, left JetBlue and started an airline called Azul, as in blue, in Brazil. And they did great. He then was a consultant to TAP, the airline of Portugal, and now he started Breeze. He has the Midas touch. He's doing a great job. Hats off to David. And thank you for your comments on that. Okay. Tanya wants to know when you would recommend purchasing a flight from Miami to Hong Kong for late February 2024. Well, the last time I looked, Tanya, there are no nonstop flights from Miami to Hong Kong. And normally you could go from Miami to Chicago or Miami to LA or San Francisco, and then do the long haul flights from there on Cathay Pacific or United. Or you could go Miami to Newark and do the United long haul from Newark to Hong Kong. February 24 is a busy time in Hong Kong. The weather happens to be great then. So right now, since we're getting into almost November coming up, buy it now. Okay? All right, time to go to the second photo of the week. That's for this week. Put it up, Anthony. It's coming. Anthony, there it is. Well, look, nobody's going to guess where this is taken. I didn't even know where this was taken, but the award on this one goes to Jeanette Gaines, who, talk about stopping at an island. This is Pitcairn Island, folks, way out there in the Pacific. The area is called St. Paul's Pool. And of course, she asks, do you see the elephant in this photo? Sort of, yeah. Love Pitcairn Island. Not easy to get to. And once you're there, not easy to stay. Let's not forget Mutiny on the Bounty. Fletcher Christian. Keelhaul that man. But he's dead, sir. Keelhaul him anyway. Charles Lawson. And, come on, who was the star who played Fletcher Christian? You should know this. I'll let you guess online. But anyway, thank you, Jeanette. This is great. We love that picture. And again, as I said before, if you think you've got a picture that qualifies as the photo of the week, you know exactly what to do. Send it in to us, peter@petergreenberg.com, and we'll post it right here. I mentioned our segment on French Bee. Anthony will post that. I've been on a lot of television shows recently talking about Delta Airlines and upcoming holiday travel. Anthony will post those links for you as well so you can see those segments. And most importantly, we'll see you on the radio this weekend. Of course, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. If you can't find a station in your area, you can still listen to it live. We stream it live. Just go to our website, petergreenberg.com, and do that. And if you've missed asking me a question today, or I didn't get to you today, please feel free to email me, peter@petergreenberg.com. We'll be glad to answer it. And we'll see you next week from a very different location somewhere around the world. And we'll see you soon, everybody. Have a great rest of the week. I'm flying today, not from Dallas. I'm going to Uber over to Reagan and fly Reagan to Madison, Wisconsin. Go Badgers. Please, may the fourth time be the charm for me. and I'll see you next week.